Okay, so we're doing a bit of a different one today. This is one that I've been meaning to get to and just kind of have been putting off for a while now. It's someone sent me a question asking me what I thought of these really old color on black projects that were done like 10 years ago or whatever, maybe even longer ago than that, and how I think they would be holding up, or just in general if I thought they were done well or anything like that. I don't know if you want to read the email.
Yeah, so this is from Mike Scott. Said there's an old BME article on Tim Beck and Roman Abrego for doing a full color over black cover up in 2012. Might be an idea for an episode and an update on how it looks at the 11-year mark. So let's take a look.
The problem is these photos don't exist. Like, you can't really find much. Yeah, so this is fresh. As far as I know, this one here is fresh. That was when it was fresh,
Like
and then
fresh.
like right after.
And this is like,
Yeah,
but healed,
yeah.
but right after, like within, the healing time.
This would have been like maybe a month or two later, is my thinking. But, I mean, it might not be this rose on this foot that I've seen, but I did see on Instagram a while back a foot tattoo color over black that was healed 10 years and looked pretty good still. And I don't really have any like question about that, people keep wondering like how my stuff is going to hold up, but the stuff that's been done hasn't really changed. It's like people are expecting it to just magically happen one day. Like it's just going to go.
Like it's just gonna disappear.
You're gonna wake up one morning and it won't be there anymore.
Well, like when you do a cover up, like a normal like run of the mill cover up, if it's done well, that will tattoo most of the time doesn't just show back up.
Well, I don't know how it would.
Exactly.
Like it's not like it's just gonna appear one day out of the shadows.
But
That's not how anything works.
So why are they thinking that the physics of how this is working is suddenly going to change?
I don't know what the deal is. I don't know why people think that. Like, I've been showing off my full color armpit tattoos. One of them only had one pass. It's like procedurally through my vlogs.
Right.
As a way of being like, hey, these aren't changing, and they haven't. In fact, there's one spot in the white that has gotten whiter over time. Like, it's like strikingly white for some reason.
Interesting.
It's like the whitest white I've ever seen, and it makes no sense. Some of that white like has similarly happened on my rose sleeve, where there's certain points in that are just like outlandishly bright.
Right.
And that wasn't the way it was right away. So sometimes the color, like, it kind of keeps working its way through for quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
And my thinking is like, especially when you're covering older black, the newer color that you're putting in there is probably better ink, because the inks are always getting better, and it's probably going to win out even more as time goes on, because there's going to be more of that in the balance. Because, like, our bodies break down the old ink over time, right?
Yeah, and so it would be breaking down maybe the old ink first.
No, it mixes. So, like, if you put the blue, like the light blue that they've done here, into the black, if you get enough blue in the balance, then it's going to be more blue.
Yeah, it's like mixing paint.
Because, yeah, it's not like when you color a wall, it is black now, and whatever you do over it is going on top of black.
Because you're putting two liquids together, essentially, under the skin, right?
I get similar questions about, like, people with darker skin. Like, if you do this process, does the color sing through? And it's like, well, the unfortunate answer is, my skin is not naturally dark. My skin is still white. It's just what's under the skin. You have not actually painted me black, right? So, like, if you get enough pink into me, suddenly I'm pink instead of black.
Right.
But I still have fair skin no matter what color it looks right now, So that's, not that anyone has really pushed that to the limit, but what you're seeing is not on the surface, it's in the surface.
Right.
So,
yeah, it's under the layer. It's under your, like, that little first layer of skin, right? And then, yeah, it's all mixing.
With this color on black rose, for example, on this foot here, now being it's a foot, it's going to get more wear and tear like any tattoo, but the first black wasn't done well. The color was.
Mm-hmm.
So immediately your mind says, the color was put in by someone who knows how to saturate better than the black was.
Yeah.
So right away, whatever the first guy did isn't going to be as good or as strong or as solid as whatever the second guy did, right?
Yeah.
So the technique will trump the coloration too, right? Like there was when Terry was fixing up my brother's arm. He has a dragon on his arm, and I literally told him, I was like, because that black isn't in there, you could do a penis over that dragon, and the penis would show.
Yeah.
Right? Like you can just, since the black isn't saturated in the dragon, you can just draw a dick over top of it, and the black will be very crisp. It will be like the dragon was never there.
Right. Yeah, that makes complete sense to
Yeah.
me.
If it's not in the right layer of skin or it's not saturated well enough, you can more or less do whatever the fuck you want. You can just put Elvis tap dancing with Jesus over this, and it will be there 10 years later. It's like there's no ink there.
I recently, because I started my apprenticeship, and people have crazy thoughts as to what an apprentice can do.
Of course they do.
I had someone ask me if I could fix this gray-lined sternum piece.
Yep.
And I was like, honestly, you don't want me to touch that because I'm going to put black in it, and my black's not going to be, like, my tattooing is not going to be amazing right now, but you're probably going to end up with a black that's in there when right now you have a gray and you can cover it with anything.
Yeah, well, realistically, you can do basically anything you want if you know how to saturate, and the tattoo you're working on is not saturated properly. You can more or less just ignore its existence.
That's what I was trying to tell them, is just like, you have a non-tattoo right now, and don't think that I'm going to fix it and make it better.
Some half-wit out there will say something like, Remy, you're not a tattooer yourself. How can you say that? Well, I work with people who cover up tattoos every day. Rick famously does 90% of his books are cover-ups. Mm-hmm. He just put an eagle over another eagle the other day.
That's so funny.
He literally just went, oh, that eagle, I'm going to do another eagle over top of it.
And a better eagle.
Yeah, it's going to be way better for sure. But he also just covered a big, dark, black and brown bullwinkle tattoo with a black bear. And guess what black won out? You would you'll never know that there was a bull in there.
His black is bulletproof though. Like, it's like amazing. His saturation is so good.
In 10 years, Bullwinkle ain't coming through.
Oh no.
Bullwinkle's gone.
Bullwinkle's dead.
It's going to be a fucking black bear whether you like it or not. Bullwinkle's not going to resurface one day. Mm-hmm. And I don't know why people think that would be any different with color. Just because it's black on black, like, sure, you would think that you can't do just anything you want. But with what we've learned, pretty well every color works. The only color that I have seen that didn't interact well with my very fresh black, because Terry did some like very soft pink on top of black we just did 3 weeks prior.
Okay.
And that was the only time I've heard him or Rick say, well, that fucking didn't work.
Good to know. Don't put pink over top of it.
Well, it could work if it was settled.
Yeah.
I've got pink on black, but it was on my sleeve. It's settled, right? Mm-hmm. But like on fresh dark black, the pink went in like very, very light white, or like very dark white. Like it just didn't have enough pigmentation to tackle.
There wasn't enough probably of the red pigment floating around in the white for the red to show up.
So
to make it look pink.
The way that these colors look here, just all you have to do in your mind is add, maybe 20 to 30% less color, or like,
make them a little darker.
Like they're just gonna be darker than they are now. I don't even need to see them to tell you that, and especially because they used contrast in all of this.
And it should be really that should be really obvious, because like your tattoos change over time. Everybody's tattoos change over time, and they fade over time. So these are tattoos swimming in a sea of black.
Yeah, see,
right?
Down here we see it is 1 month healed there.
Yeah. But
like this sleeve here that says 1 month healed over black, this will hold up better than any white on black line work tattoo that you'll ever see. And that stuff is very trendy and popular right now.
Yeah.
This, because they used color theory and contrast and really did a lot to highlight and low light
Yeah, they
pull
put
things apart.
more blacks in there. They put some navy blues. They put some whites. They
Not
really played with
only
everything.
not only will this be more evident and apparent and clear than any of that white on black line work stuff that I talk so much about, it will also be more striking than most black and gray as well, even though it was done over a blackout sleeve. Like, for example, my rose sleeve, it stands out more than most. I would say 90% of the black and gray sleeves you see out there.
It's so bright. It's crazy, and it's crazier in
Oh,
person.
I'm
too.
not even trying to flatter myself.
No.
It's just whenever you use color,
Yeah.
whether it's over black or negative, the minute you get into color play and you use it properly, your sleeve will be more striking than a black and gray sleeve for the most part, unless you're in the really, really high contrast black and gray.
And like, this is another thing too, is like pictures don't always do these things justice, because recently we ran into this. We had a whole shop of tattoo artists staring at your color on black, going, this looks way better than it does in the photos.
Well, no, and not only that, but most of them didn't believe it would be real.
Right.
Like, they weren't expecting when I got up there that all of that was an actual thing.
Right, and then
like
they saw it
Lauren,
in person and were like, holy shit. And then it's like weeks and weeks healed, months and months healed, a year healed maybe for some of it.
Oh, some of it's more than a year.
Yeah.
Some of it's closer to 2-3 years. But Lauren is a color specialist in the Kelowna location, and she was absolutely stunned for an hour just looking at me.
Yeah.
Just taking it in, like, how is this a thing?
Yeah, I thought she was really, it seemed to me like she was really excited to see. Like,
Yeah, well, you could see her mind working, trying to figure out what the hell was going on with my work. But, like, that is the right reaction, rather than to deny that this is possible. Be more, like, puzzled and interested in it.
And wanting to experiment with it too, right? Like, I think every tattoo artist, instead of being like, no, that doesn't work, it's not going to heal good, do one.
Do one. Try it.
And then sit and see
You
what
run
happens.
some red over some black, or some blue over some black, and you see if it's there. I can almost guarantee you it will be.
Oh, yeah.
You're just too fucking scared to try it. The only thing I don't like about this, and overall, is you just don't see any updates. Like, you never ever see this shit, and this is part of the problem. Because, like,
well,
this
is a month healed. And this is what, from 10 years ago?
Yeah, get a hold of the fucking guy.
Yeah.
But, like, these projects are part of the problem. I see so many tattooers do this, and I know why they do it, because the fresh stuff trends better. But, like, you owe it to the tattoo world, if you're going to be doing these projects, to be keeping the public up on them, like, where they're at.
Yeah, showing
Because
them and saying, this is 2 years healed, this is 4 years
this
healed.
shit is part of the problem. Like, not these guys in general for doing it. Good on them for doing it. But, like, the fact that you don't interact with the way that I show it off, where it's like you're living with it, you're seeing that age.
Yeah.
You can make up your mind about whether my stuff is changing. Whereas with this, it's like, well, we'll never see it again.
Right?
Right? You don't get to see it ever again.
Or it's buried. Like, it's not easy to see. Like, I hope
Keep putting it up there anyway.
I really, like, I hope that the maybe one of the people who did one of these 2 tattoos, maybe through the grapevine, sees this video and is like, well, shoot, I should put an update.
I did see a 10-year-old color on black post recently. I think it was the rose on the foot, but I can't remember. And I'm not going to go look. I had somebody talk to me the other day, or wrote comment like, oh, you should do more. I'm not doing more research. You can fucking find it.
Yeah.
But, like, it's not, these things aren't out there. They're not out there all over the place. They're not out in the open. And so this is what leads people to think that these things don't age well. But I can almost guarantee you that that thing is still there and still almost the same as it is here. So.
Yeah.